Hello guys on Voice of Betrayal, where every lie has a voice. My name is Benton. I'm 38 years old. I was an architect, or at least, I used to be. Now, I'm just a man who had everything: a family, a thriving business, a best friend I trusted like a brother, and a wife who was quietly building a new life behind my back. People say betrayal is a sudden knife in the dark. But sometimes, it's a quiet draft in a warm room, barely noticeable until the entire space turns cold. We met in college. Emily was studying early childhood education, and I was buried in design studios, dreaming of skylines and sustainable cities. She was my calm, my warmth. Everyone said we were perfect together. And for years, it felt like they were right. 12 years of marriage. 2 kids, Olivia, 10, and Max, 7. A life we built brick by brick, memory by memory. From a cramped one-bedroom apartment filled with IKEA furniture to the dream house we designed together: clean lines, tall windows, a backyard sanctuary where the kids learned to ride their bikes and where I often sat with Emily, talking about the future. It wasn't perfect, but it was ours. Until it wasn't. The first sign. Her phone. Not that she hid it, she just held it differently. Closer. More guarded. Notifications came, and she'd tilt the screen away, saying it was just school stuff. Late-night texts from Kara from PTA. Too many charity meetings. A new cologne on her coat, not mine. I told myself to trust her. I had deadlines. My firm was preparing a pitch for a sustainable housing project, a chance to put us on the map. But something in my gut twisted. One night, I stayed late in my studio, drafting blueprints by the glow of a desk lamp. Around 1:30 a.m., I heard her car pull up. She didn't come upstairs for nearly an hour. When she finally did, her eyes didn't match her words. "You okay?" I asked. "Yeah. Just went for a drive to clear my head after the meeting," she said. Her voice was calm. Her eyes, distant. The next day, I installed a GPS tracker on her car. I hated myself for it. But my gut was screaming. Patterns emerged. Her meetings were never at the community center. One night, she parked at a luxury apartment complex 40 minutes away, stayed for nearly 3 hours. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I reached out to Nate, my childhood best friend, a former cop turned private investigator. I told him everything. He didn't judge. Just nodded. "You sure you want the truth?" he asked. I nodded. I wasn't sure I did. A week later, Nate handed me a folder. Photos, time-stamped, Emily walking into an upscale apartment, greeted by a man I didn't recognize. Tall. Athletic. Sharp-dressed. Then Nate dropped the bomb. "His name's Marcus. Your business partner. The man who toasted at my wedding, who held Max in the hospital the day he was born." Something inside me folded, like my entire world packed into a box I didn't recognize. I sat in my car outside the office, staring at nothing for hours. At home, I kissed my kids goodnight and climbed into bed beside Emily, the woman tearing my life apart. The next morning, I made pancakes, chocolate chip smiley faces. Olivia smiled. Emily kissed my cheek. I needed time. To think. To plan. Nate kept digging. Turns out Marcus and Emily weren't just lovers. They were partners, in betrayal, in business. Emily had used her access to siphon money, small amounts transferred into an LLC Marcus controlled. 8 months. $220,000 stolen. The LLC submitted a proposal for the same sustainable housing project, using designs strikingly similar to mine. They weren't just stealing money. They were stealing me. I started watching Emily more closely. She wore different clothes now, silk blouses I didn't buy her, expensive jewelry. Her phone was locked with passcodes I didn't know. One evening, I found a hidden folder on her laptop labeled Project Phoenix. Inside were financial documents, contracts, wire transfers, and emails between her and a shadowy figure named Jay. Jay wasn't Marcus. Someone else was pulling strings behind the scenes. I called Rachel, my sister, a ruthless tax attorney. She started moving assets, shielding what I could protect. Mason, my former Navy intel officer turned private security chief, came on board. He hacked into encrypted emails, traced phone calls, dug deeper. What we uncovered next shocked me. Marcus was a pawn in a much bigger game. Jay was an anonymous investor, someone with a vendetta against me and my firm, and he was using Emily and Marcus to dismantle everything I built. For weeks, I played along. Attended meetings, dinners. Kisses, smiles, pretending ignorance. But inside, I was planning my move. Rachel set up fake shell companies. Mason rigged surveillance. I gathered proof. Blue North Ventures expressed interest in buying my AI tech startup. Only Blue North didn't exist. The founder, Alan Bishop, was a retired actor. Emily and Marcus believed they had a deal to edge me out. They didn't see the cameras. They didn't hear the recorded conversations. I struck hard. Marcus was arrested. Charged with fraud, conspiracy, and theft. Emily was served divorce papers at her workplace. She tried to claim emotional abuse, but I had emails, financial records, recordings proving her scheme. The media exploded. Architect betrayed, wife and business partners $220,000 fraud exposed. I fought for custody. Olivia and Max deserved stability. The court ruled in my favor. Emily lost her job. Marcus faced prison. 2 years later, I live in a lake house. I freelance. Coach soccer. Hike with Olivia. But at night, her face haunts me. The love I believed in shattered, replaced by lessons in trust and betrayal. Last week, I received a package. Inside, a letter from Emily. She wrote, "Trust is the currency of kings. Betrayal is the tax." No signature. Just a lipstick stain. I smiled. Because I'm still collecting interest. In those days when I started noticing something was wrong, I thought I was just being paranoid. But every little thing Emily did added up to a troubling picture. One evening, while we were having dinner with the kids, I noticed her quietly put her phone under the table and quickly hid it when I glanced her way. "Emily, are you okay?" I asked. She smiled, but it wasn't a fully genuine smile. "Yeah, just tired." "Lots of PTA work," she replied, avoiding eye contact. But then why was there a new necklace on her neck, one I hadn't given her? Why did she stop looking me in the eyes? At that moment, I decided I couldn't handle it on my own. I called Nate. "Are you sure you want to know the truth?" he asked. "I have to," I replied. We met at an old bar where we used to celebrate our wins and support each other through losses. "I've got people who'll help us find everything out," he said with a half smile. I didn't know what awaited me, but I was ready for anything. The photos Nate handed me were just the tip of the iceberg. "This isn't just cheating," he said. He told me that Marcus and Emily met in upscale restaurants and conference rooms, discussing projects and finances. Sometimes Marcus appeared at our house under the guise of business meetings. One night, Nate followed them to a private club on the city outskirts, where they were seen with unknown people clearly involved in illegal activities. I met with Rachel, my sister and lawyer. "You need to be ready for anything," she said. "Emily's good at manipulation." We devised a plan: gather evidence, protect assets, prepare for court. One evening, after the kids were asleep, I sat alone on the terrace thinking about how to tell them the truth. The next day, I gathered them in the living room. "Olivia, Max," I began, "Mom and Dad are going to live separately. We both love you very much." Olivia started crying, and Max looked confused. "Why?" Olivia asked. I couldn't answer right away. Too much pain inside. Having collected all the evidence, I decided to act first. We staged a meeting with Marcus and Emily, unexpectedly joined by law enforcement officers. Seeing their faces, a mix of surprise, anger, and fear, something cold and determined boiled inside me. 6 months passed since Marcus's arrest and my split with Emily. I moved closer to nature. I freelance and spend time with the kids. But sometimes, when night falls, my thoughts return to those days of betrayal and pain. Recently, an unknown man called me. "You think it's over," he said. "You still have a lot ahead." There was something threatening in his voice. It turned out that behind everything was an investor interested in destroying my firm for personal gain. With Mason's help, my former military man and security specialist, we began a new investigation. Every step brought new dangers, secrets, and enemies. But now I know, I won't give up. 2 years later, I realize life doesn't stop. With my kids, we make new memories. I'm learning to trust again, first myself, then the world. The pain of betrayal remains, but it has taught me to cherish what really matters.